Lord knows it's tough. It gets rough.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. Today we're going to be talking about Lacey Evans, once again giving her opinion on mental health issues. So, bodyslam.net, among others, just many, many others, have decided to jump all over Lacey Evans for what she posted on Instagram. So, let's talk about this real quick. So, the title is Noted Mental Health Expert Lacey Evans Thinks Exercise and More Money Will Cure Depression. Okay, let's read this. It says mental health and depression and anxiety are real neurological ailments. Yet, despite thousands of pages of evidence, some people still believe that they amount to nothing more than merely, quote, having a bad day. There are people who will tell you to drink more water, get more sunlight, or in the case of WWE superstar Lacey Evans, make more money. Evans, fresh off bungee cording her child into an abandoned stroller she found on the street, has decided that offering her opinion on ADD and autism isn't enough. Now she wants to tackle depression and anxiety. Recently, Evans shared a post to her Instagram story that offers 7 supposed quote-unquote solutions to depression and anxiety. The suggestions come from a man named Bedros Keuilian, a self-professed serial entrepreneur and investor in over a dozen industry-leading brands and businesses. Additionally, he is the founder of Body Fit Boot Camp. He also wrote a book entitled Man Up, How to Cut the BS and Dominate in Business and in Life, which naturally would make him an excellent source on mental health. All right, so they're attacking her source of information. So here's the what Keuilian says. Keuilian made an Instagram post that offers 7 solutions to depression, and they are as follows. How to fix 99% of anxiety and depression, which even grammatically doesn't make sense. 1, exercise hard daily. 2, eat clean. 3, put purpose over pleasure. 4, make a lot more money. 5, stop overthinking. 6, help others and be kind. 7, mind your own effing business. Now, the article is going to continue. Let's pause right here. So, just because people are using the words anxiety and depression, people use those words colloquially, and then there's also the clinical reasons for these things. Most people do not have clinical depression. They do not have clinical anxiety. If you see people who have clinical depression or clinical anxiety, they absolutely do need medical treatment. Something has literally gone wrong with them, and they need medical treatment. They need to see a psychiatrist. Those people, this stuff probably would not help because it does not have any, it wouldn't change the chemical imbalance that's taking place in their brain. But for the average Joe who's feeling bad, yeah, this would help. Something as simple as working out can help you feel better. Eating better can help you feel better because a lot of people are taking medications, for other issues. They're eating terrible foods, eating a lot of sugar, a lot of fat. They're out of shape, etc., etc. These kind of things can help you build your confidence, make you feel better. But if you have clinical depression, this stuff's likely not going to help. Now, that's a fact. And matter of fact, some of this stuff you probably won't even be able to do if you're having a bout of clinical depression. The likelihood of you actually being able to pull yourself out of it, not likely. But I'm very perturbed, not by Lacey Evans, who just given her opinion. I mean, it is what it is. It's the idea that these people believe you should never, ever try to do anything for yourself. Anything that you might be able to do to lessen a symptom or make yourself feel better, or at least try to combat feeling bad, is considered a conspiracy theory or terrible or how dare you. It's like, well, no, not really. You should try to take care of yourself. You should try some of these things. And when you do have somebody who has clinical depression, one of the things you want them to do, and I've seen this, I used to work with people who have depression directly, is you want them to mingle with other people. You want them to get out, to move around, because what they want to do is to isolate. What they want to do is, just separate, isolate, stay in the bed all day. They may eat, they may not eat. They may not do anything in terms of group therapies or anything like that. They may not even participate. Hell, sometimes they might not even want to take the medications. What other people will tell you to do is just pop pills for the rest of your life. Now, I'm all for Lacey Evans and her seemingly anti-taking pills for your entire life kind of stance. And for people who have to take these kinds of pills, they hate them. A lot of the people who legitimately have to take, anti-anxiety pills and anti-depression medications, they talk all day about the side effects. They sleep all the time. They're drowsy all the time. A lot of that stuff is very strong and it affects your way of life. So we really should, stop using depression and anxiety so loosely as terms. We use these terms entirely too loosely. But it's interesting how serious people take an Instagram post. So bodyslam.net continues. Now, taken separately in like an entirely different context, these ideas could be good ones. Nobody is denying that exercise is good. That would be a much better place if we all helped each other and were more kind. Stopping overthinking is a dream. On their own, these are all good ideas for the most part. And let us be clear about this for anybody who may be wondering, these are not cures to depression or anxiety. According to the National Library of Medicine, because, you did your Googles, psychiatric and neurological depression seem to share common abnormalities in specific brain areas, but sound brain imaging studies of the neural correlates depression and neurological disorders are still lacking. Available treatments are efficacious, but no clear-cut guidelines about the best drugs and dosages can be defined because double-blind placebo-controlled studies are still scarce. Now, they're talking about taking drugs. She's not talking about taking any medications. That's the thing. She's not telling you to take something that's not going to work, which is what this writer is now telling you to do. That if you are prescribed medications by a doctor and then they did their Googles and they say, well, look, clear-cut guidelines about the best drugs and dosages. Well, we can't prove that, but that's probably what you should do is take drugs in random doses rather than going to work out and eating better and trying to see what, if you legitimately have clinical depression or if you are just, feeling bad. Because some people, they feel bad for a couple of days. They're not sure why. They're stressed. They're not sure why. And they are overthinking. They are under a lot of stress. And it could be financial. Could definitely be one of the reasons why people are stressed out and depressed. If you're, having trouble making rent, you're having trouble buying food, you're having trouble keeping yourself up. Yeah, that would make you depressed. Making a lot more money is kind of a simplistic way of handling that situation because it's not just like, you could just pull a lever and more money will come out. You will have to actually take active steps in order to make more money. But let's continue the article. It says, which means basically there are studies that show depression is an actual abnormality in the brain, but that still isn't enough research to create the best solutions to depression. There are various forms of education that treat depression, but they don't always work. It completely depends on the person and the brain. Well, yes, because that's science. I love how this person is given a lecture on depression all of a sudden and anxiety. We're going to we're going to write an entire essay on depression and anxiety because a wrestler posted an Instagram post. Okay. So it continues. Harvard, like the Harvard, wrote that, quote, it's often said that depression results from a chemical imbalance, but that figure of speech doesn't capture how complex the disease is. Research suggests that depression doesn't spring from simply having too much or too little of certain brain chemicals. Rather, there are many possible causes of depression, including faulty mood regulation by the brain, genetic vulnerability, and stressful life events. It's believed that several of these forces interact to bring on depression. Quote, that's the end of quote. Meaning that making more money isn't actually a viable solution to depression or anxiety. depending on whether your depression and anxiety are based off of your financial situation. Again, you literally just quoted here that, there are many possible causes of depression, including faulty mood regulation by the brain, genetic vulnerability, and stressful life events. Quote unquote, stressful life events. If you're about to lose your house, you need to make more money. Wait a minute, that might actually ease up some of the stress that you're under. If you get a better job, if you get a raise, if you take on a second job, if you create a side hustle and, better yourself, you might actually be able to lift some of your financial stressors. But this person is sitting here telling you that Lacey Evans is absolutely wrong when this is part of one of the things that this person is saying. But you have to look at it in a dynamic way. This person is looking at Lacey Evans' article in a way to be offended. All right. That's the situation here. The perpetually outraged are doing their thing. Continuing, Evans, for her part, didn't offer any sort of commentary on this post. She let it speak for herself and her story. Evans, as a superstar with World Wrestling Entertainment, has 1.4 million followers on her Instagram page, meaning that roughly 1.4 million people could see her story and then be led to believe that exercising and eating clean will cure their depression and anxiety. Now, they put could in italics, which means it's entirely possible. I don't know what's up with these people who truly believe that everyone is a sheep and that because somebody said something that might be slightly inaccurate, that all of a sudden, all of these people will believe it. All right. Let's say you are a person that's following Lacey Evans and Lacey Evans retweets some stuff like this. You're in that fraction of a percent that actually pays attention to this kind of stuff. You're just not watching her take pictures and, post about her children and stuff like that. You're actually looking for Lacey Evans. Lacey, please, Dr. Evans, let me know how can I fix myself? How can I help myself? She retweets something that says, basically, go to the gym, get a better job, eat better. Is any of that going to actually harm you? No. None of that's actually going to harm you. She tells people, hey, maybe we got to stop feeding our kids these horrible foods. Are you going to be harmed by that? No, you're not going to be hurt by that. Who's going to be hurt by that? Well, I'm offended because it doesn't tell the truth of the deep understanding. She's not trying to do that. She's not trying to tell any deep hidden truths about depression or anxiety. For the people that this stuff could help, it will help them. For the people that it's not going to help, well, they're going to need to take pills. End of story. Nobody with legitimate clinical depression or legitimate clinical anxiety is going to listen to Lacey Evans. It's just not believable. It's not believable. It is the people who are upset at Lacey Evans who are now taking this and are running with it. But I'm okay with this. Lacey Evans didn't say anything wrong. This is what gym bros believe. People who go to the gym and they work out all the time. They typically say, I feel great after I work out. I feel better about myself. I feel more confident. You build up a routine. You start looking better. You start feeling better. Your confidence starts going over into other areas of your life. You probably, since you start feeling better about yourself, you start looking a little bit better, start dressing better, you get better jobs, better promotion, better attitude. That kind of stuff. It does take time. But the idea of, just, hey, shove these pills in your mouth. We don't know how badly you have depression. That's why we have doctors. That's why we have mental hospitals. Because sometimes people are feeling bad because mom just died. Because, dad died. Because our dog died. Because, we lost our job. Because we got divorced. And you don't really fall into a clinical depression, but you just feel bad for a couple of days or maybe off and on for a while. The people whose lives are completely destroyed, yeah, those people definitely not going to be able to go to the gym and crank out, after hitting, the weights, you're going to feel better. No, probably not. But Lacey Evans and her suggestions that she's retweeting or reposting or whatever, it's not going to actually harm you. What might actually harm you, however, It's going to a kook doctor who then tells you to take this, and you don't understand what that is or don't know what that is, and you're just taking it, and it puts you to sleep for 6 hours a day for 2 weeks. You know, that's a lot of your life that you're missing out there, you know. But you have to be really bad. You have to be really, really bad off for a doctor to feel like they want to shove some pills down your throat. That's the positive thing about this whole situation. Doctors usually have a lot of common sense too. Now, some of them have common sense. So the idea that Lacey Evans could potentially mislead 1.4 million people, like, I doubt anybody actually saw this, you know. But here's the interesting thing that they didn't mention. Betros Koulian, when he posted this, the how to fix 99% of anxiety and depression, in his caption he wrote, "Your problems are much easier to solve than you think." You know, your problems are much easier to solve than you think. Well, that's for most issues. Okay. Now, nobody's going to tell somebody who has no arms and no legs, just hit the gym. It's like, that's not everything is going to help everybody. Interestingly enough, that's the same thing this article is telling you. Well, it depends on the brain and it depends on the person. Like, yeah, it depends on the brain. It depends on the person. Some people are going to go to the gym. They're going to work out and they're going to feel better. Wow. Some people are going to eat better. They're going to cut certain things out of their life and they're going to feel better. They may lose weight. You know, get some of that pressure off their knees and their back and their feet and stuff like that. And they actually help with their mood. Hey, does that make Lacey Evans and Betros Koulian wrong? No. Now, it's an exaggeration and embellishment to say it's going to fix 99% of anxiety and depression. But since only like a fraction of people actually have clinical anxiety or depression anyway, there's going to be a lot of people who could be helped by this. Out of her 1.4 million, followers. People take that word follower way too literally. Most people don't literally follow wrestlers and listen to every single thing that they say. If that was the case, they'd be far more effective in commercials, than they really are. Like, yeah, they are paid influencers, quote unquote. But most people are smart enough to know you don't take medical advice from wrestlers. You don't take dietary advice from wrestlers. You know, some people are kind of foolish. They ask The Rock what he eats for dinner and lunch and all that kind of stuff. They still don't follow it. You know, The Rock can post his entire meal plan. And people still won't follow it. You'll ask for it and still not follow it. The idea that what's happening here is she's been a terrible person and believing that these things are not real. It's like she didn't say anything about these things being real or not real, or she's just trying to help people help themselves. And for the people that will be helped, that's fine. For the people who won't be helped, they need a next level. They need that next level. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with telling people if you're financially stressed out, which could be the source of your problems, you don't need to take pills because you're poor. You don't need to take pills because you're struggling with your mom dying. That's not always going to be the answer. The answer is definitely going to be on an individual basis. What may help this person may not help that person. And everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. Even the person who wrote this dumb article. You wrote an entire essay on depression and anxiety. Literally said, essentially, there's no cure, and you might have to take medications, you might not. You might need to see, you might have a genetic vulnerability to it, you might not. You might be in a stressful life event that really, really happened to you, or you might not. We don't know that much about anything, but we're definitely going to take this post literally because we want to educate. We want to educate you. How elitist is that? It's incredibly elitist. Guess what? There's people, even if he was a doctor, it wouldn't matter, because believe it or not, there's certain doctors that they have no interest in listening to. So it makes no sense to criticize a wrestler when you would criticize a doctor that you don't like. Because I could think of a couple of doctors who legitimately have medical degrees that if they were to post something about depression or whatever, there would be people who would say, no, I would never do that. I'm not doing that. No, you're not going to. Again, I worked with mentally ill patients. Most of them do not want to take the medications. They don't. They don't care how terrible they feel. They don't care how out of control their behavior is. They don't care how bizarre their behavior is. They don't want to take that medications. They lack what it's called lack of insight. But that's on the extreme end. What Lacey Evans is talking about is mostly, and with this Boudreaux Coulion guy, what they're talking about mostly is what we call colloquially anxiety or depression. Anxiety, feeling anxious. There's a clinical version of that where you literally are shaking. You literally can't sit still. You're literally pacing around. Your mind won't shut off. You're not sleeping, that sort of thing. You have on that extreme, which can be caused by any number of things. Yeah, you need some medication. If you're clinically depressed where you're crying all the time, you can't hold a conversation, you're isolative, you're withdrawn, you're feeling lonesome, you're feeling like a burden to everybody else, maybe even suicidal. Yeah, you need some medication. But for people who get up and go to work every day, but you're frumpy and you're kind of withdrawn, but you're not like, I can't function, maybe some of these things might actually help you. It's not medical, but what they're telling people is to be more active in your own life. Be more active in your own attempts to make yourself feel better first. Should be seen as, and I think this is better, and I'm going to end on this. This looks like a way of try this before you take all these medications. Probably the best way to put it is to try working out. Try making more money. Try going out with your friends. Try helping and volunteering and trying to do other things before you say, look, I go to a doctor and look, I'm out of it. There's nothing more I can do. I tried this, and this. Maybe I need to take some medications. That's what it feels like to me. That this is like the first line of defense, is to try things yourself. But this article was really dumb, but I guess these guys can't help it. They're so offended by the fact that Lacey Evans is a Republican. Oh my God. She could be a vampire and they wouldn't care as long as she voted Democrat, right? She could be a ghoul as long as she votes Democrat. The minute she says talking about voting Republican, oh my God. You gotta run up and down the street and scream that she doesn't know what she's talking about anything. Noted mental health expert. Do all the YouTube things, guys. I'll talk to you guys later.